So Canon are finally doing it. They're going to give us an FX3/FX30 competitor, which is going to be interesting, but we're going to be talking about it in this video. Now, Canon have actually released that photo where they're teasing a camera that's going to be dropping on the September the 9th, which is going to be a very interesting time because that's very similar time to the iPhone release as well, which could get drowned out. It might not really be a good idea. But one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to make this video is that I'm excited for this release because it's about time that camera companies like Canon and Nikon try and create something like the FX3. Now, obviously, this is a very good formula. Why not copy it? Sony are even competing with themselves with the FX2 now because they just love this form factor, and so do I, and so do hundreds of thousands of other people that have purchased the FX2, the FX3, or the FX30 cameras. Now, the interesting thing is that Canon hasn't really released anything about this camera. No one really knows what this camera is going to be like. But one of the interesting things that Canon has the R50V, which is their vlogging style APS-C camera, and it kind of looks very similar to that, but obviously it looks very similar to, you know, the FX3. And a lot of people were thinking, is it going to be full frame? Is it going to be APS-C? And that's one thing that leads me to believe that this would be full frame because they have the R50V. Now, I personally think that this would be maybe the R6 Mark II sensor, the full frame 24 megapixel sensor. Now that has the capabilities to do, you know, 4K 60 full frame, but it can also do 6K external ProRes RAW, which I believe is perfectly fine. A lot of people actually need 4K 120 frames per second when it comes to full frame mode. Now, I really think that they should be targeting the FX2. That's the camera that they should be targeting. Try and keep it below the price of the FX2 because the FX2 came out at about $2,700 US. Because right now you can get the R6 Mark II for a crazy deal of $2,000 US, and that's pretty insane for the specs that you actually get in that camera.
And I think between the price range of about $2,000 to $3,000 US is that sweet spot that there needs to be more competition, especially when it comes to the video space. So this would be interesting if this was the current price and this is the target market for this camera.
Now, one of the things that leads me to believe that it's the R6 Mark II sensor is that I don't think that they would release an R5 Mark II sensor in a smaller body. It would kind of kill the sales of the R5 Mark II. Like, that camera is already a beast on its own. So let that camera be and still utilize that R6 Mark II sensor in just a different body and form factor. And for me, when it comes to EVF and the FX3 and FX30, not necessarily needed. I know there are still some people that love to use their cameras like this. Personally, I'm not one, and I know there are thousands of other people that are the same, that don't use the EVF. They use the screen on the back, but they also use an external monitor as well. But obviously, let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you think it's going to be that full frame R6 Mark II sensor, if it's going to be an APS-C sensor like the R50V. It's going to be really interesting, but I think the price obviously is the most interesting thing because that's where it sort of places itself in between a whole bunch of different cameras. Now, it's an interesting time because the Lumix S1 II has released, and that's cheaper than the FX3 with some pretty insane specs. So it would be cool to see Canon sort of diving into that sort of space and really giving us a whole bunch of different specs. But history shows us, unfortunately, Canon Cripple Hammer comes out and starts to hammer down and get rid of a ton of specs inside the camera. So it really is interesting if they're going to give the consumers what they want. Now, we do have to talk about the branding and the wording of what they said, a new way to capture the world. What does that mean? I actually got a message on Instagram. I don't know if it's true, but someone actually said it's going to be able to record 16:9 but 9:16 at the same time. Now, is this true? I have no idea. I don't know this person. It was just a random message, but I mean, it's interesting. It's something different because it's meant to be a new way. So that pretty much means no one has done it before. And if it is 16:9, 9:16, I mean, that's kind of cool. But as long as the 9:16 is the full format of that sensor and not just a 9:16 crop of that 16:9 because you missed the top and bottom, that wouldn't really be nice and kind of wouldn't be useful because you could just do it in post-production anyway. But personally, what I would like to see it's just a 1:1 crop. I don't think anyone does a full frame 1:1. Only Lumix do the full frame 3:2. I mean, you do have Blackmagic Design as well that has the 3:2. Obviously, you do have the Fujifilm, but that's APS-C full frame readout. And it's Canon, Sony, and Nikon are falling behind when it comes to that open gate 3:2 full readout. But I mean, if they don't have that 1:1, I mean, full frame 3:2 open gate would be pretty nice to see.
Now, I have done a full video about OpenGate and the advantages that that actually has over, 16:9 sensors and what you can actually get out of when it comes to 9:16 crops for vertical output. So I will link this in the description below so you guys can check that out. Now, in terms of some of the specs that we could expect in this is potentially active cooling. Will there be fans in this? Because we don't want overheating issues. Specifically in the Northern Hemisphere right now, it is summer. So there will be a lot of YouTubers testing the overheating to see if this thing is going to be reliable. We'll most likely get a flip screen because a lot of people do like that fully articulating screen. Dual SD card slots would be a given in these kind of video cameras. But I mean, what other specs would you expect in this? But you do have to take it into consideration of price and them having to leave out a few things to make it relatively cheap. Or if this camera is extremely expensive, then they literally can throw the kitchen sink at it.
Now, the biggest reason why I am excited for this is that it's creating a lot of competition with Sony, Nikon, Lumix to really up their game and push each other. And that's only going to benefit us as consumers because we're going to be having a whole bunch of awesome tools that we can use to create all our work with. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you would like to see in this Canon camera. Is Nikon going to be doing something like this? Are Sony going to be up in their game with the FX3 Mark II? There's so much that could happen at this time of the year because this is where a whole bunch of things start to drop. It's going to be an exciting time for us consumers. So anyway, my friends, hope you enjoyed this video. See you guys in the next one. Let's get it.